do Pradhana and start the session. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Mannado Sri Jagannatha Madguru Sri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Chara Acharam Tat Padam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. The only Guru of three religions, Traitatiram originator, sensational writer, Hindu virtue donor, the author of more than 100 divine holy scriptures, the emperor of spiritual kingdom, Sri 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 Acharya Prabodhananda Yogeshwarudu. Let us pray Guru to make us understand the wisdom in a right manner. Let us start the session now. So we are learning Traitatiram Bhagavad Gita interpreted by Sri 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 Acharya Prabodhananda Yogeshwarudu. Last week we started learning Vibhuti Yogam chapter. In the Vibhuti Yogam chapter, Bhagavan himself started teaching from the first Slokam onwards. We learnt up to 6th Slokam last week. So we will continue from 7th Slokam today. Let's recap what we learnt last week from first Slokam until 6th Slokam. So Bhagavan said that so far he taught about the absolute soul in many slokas, in the form of many slokas, though still he wants to help more. So he wants to tell much more about absolute soul again now. So that is going to help us more to learn more about the absolute soul. So in the second slokam, he taught about the Bhagavan. So this is about the formful God. When formless God takes the human form of the form as a formful God, we call him as Bhagavan or the Lord. He is the physical form of the absolute soul. So in this slokam he is saying that the demigods and maharshis cannot know his birth, where he born, because he is before them. He is before them. All the maharshis and demigods are part of the creation. God is not part of the creation itself. So his birth is not like all the other creatures. So demigods and maharshis, all those are part of the creatures, but Bhagavan is not a creature at all. So he said that he is before them and he is the greatest of all. Then in the third slokam what he said, he has no beginning, no end. He has no birth at all. So the third slokam talks about absolute soul. He is the Lord of all the realms. All the realms. So realm means loka. So lokas are which comes to experience. Whatever we are experiencing, so that comes from the loka. So that's called the loka. Loka means the realm. The people of similar feelings are called one loka, like educators realm, doctors realm, laborers realm, women realm, men realm, kids realm, like that. Those are all called the realms. So and the realms are not outside, so they are inside our head itself. Mainly there are three lokas inside our head. They are called Satvika, Tamasa, Rajasa. So we get all the experiences within our head itself from all these three realms. So the God is the Lord of all the realms. So whoever comes to know the truth, they will come out of the ignorance and they will enter into the divine path. When they enter into the divine path and they will follow the divine wisdom and follow the yogam, then they can easily get the liberation. Then what he is saying in the fourth and fifth slokam, buddhi, the intellect, wisdom, uh, detachment, patience, truth, controlling of organs, happiness, sorrow, all these experiencing them or not experiencing them, uh, and also the fearlessness, um, non-violence, equality, satisfaction, penance, charity, um, popularity, unpopularity, all these feelings which are coming to the creatures are from Absolute Soul itself. Then in the sixth slokam he said about how the creation began, how the creation happened. Some people interpreted this one as seven rishis and four manus. With them, entire creation happened. So, because they did not understand the wisdom in a proper manner. So, when some rationalists ask, then they cannot answer that. Rationalists directly will ask that how come male people give birth to uh, the child? That's wrong, right? So, in this world, female is giving birth to the child, right? So, without female, how come the creation happened? They will question that. So, that's why whoever know the code language in a proper manner, they can reveal the fact outside and explain in much more elaborated manner. Swami got that. So, Swami explained to us, we are all owe to Swami. So, here in this slokam, Maharsha means have joyfulness, joyfulness. So that is called Atma as well. Chatvara Manavaha means four Manavahas. Manavahas means Mana means mind. Then other three things, intellect, Chittam, ego. So these four. And in the beginning, God created, the Absolute Soul created the nature which is immovable, which contains five elements: sky, air, fire, water, earth. So that is having the female characteristic. So male is Paramatma itself. So that is a pair like husband and wife. Then from Absolute Soul, immortal soul came out from him. That contains seven parts. They are called seven Maharshayas. Seven Maharshayas. Sapta Maharshayas means seven parts of the immortal soul. That is immortal soul. After that, God created movable nature from the nature. So here for immortal soul, the movable nature is the wife. Like these two are husband and wife. So Atma, the immortal soul, and movable nature. Then from the movable nature, mind, intellect, Chittam, ego got created. After that, God has created the human body first. God has created human first. How many human bodies he created? How many humans he created? He created 324 humans. How? First he created 108 humans. In 108, 57, 54 are male, 54 are female. In 54 male, good 27, bad 27. In 54 female, good 27, bad 27. Like that. Because there are the gunas, right? Emotions. 6 good emotions, 6 bad emotions. So based on that, each emotion is divided into 9 parts. So good emotions 54 totally, total parts, and bad emotions total parts 54. That way 108. So when you multiply with 3, this one, because we have 3 divisions of dispositions, tamasa, rajasa, sattvika, then it is becoming 324. This is about one species of human being. Then God wants to create God created another 323 species of different types, all the other creatures. So for each type again he created 324. So that way, when you multiply 324 into 324, it becomes 109,076 number. So that is the first time all the species God has created. So later point of time, these species multiplied their number by giving birth and regenerating their children, all those things. That way now the number became the count of the creatures gone up to billions. So the physics can tell the number, how many how many number of creatures of a particular species exists in the universe. That is that that can be revealed by physics. But the Brahma Vidya, the super science, will tell about the species, how many God has created in the beginning itself. So we came to know the fact that Maharshaya Sapta means seven parts of the immortal soul. Chatvara Manavaha means mind, intellect, chittam, ego. All four got created, uh, and the seven and four got created by Absolute Soul itself. So in this process, once they got created, seven Maharshas and four Manavahas, so the mortal soul got created. The mortal soul is encircled by Buddhi, Chittam, Aham, three things. So that is called Jivatma. That's called mortal soul. So it is encircled by intellect, Chittam, and ego. So that is what we learnt in the last week. So let's move on to the seventh slokam. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tattvataha. So avikampena yogena yujyate natra samshayaha. So whoever comes to know his miracles, his miracle, his yogam, his unification, and his immortal soul, whoever comes to know about them, he can merge with him. Absolute soul is really, he has no movement at all. He is immovable. He is immovable. So there is no doubt about that. We so whoever comes to know the greatness of the Absolute Soul and the miracle of him, what he how he created this entire universe and what kind of things he put in, and how he created this system to go continuously run, so without any issues at all. So he will come to know, the one who comes to know about his greatness and his miracle, and he will come to know what are the ways to merge with him. Those ways are called the yogams, those are called the dharmas, those are called the righteousness things. So he taught the three ways, right? Brahma yogam, karma yogam, bhakti yogam. So he will come to know, the person will come to know, and he will know his wisdom. He will know his wisdom and follow the yogams. When you follow the yogam, that becomes the worshipping of the Absolute Soul itself. That way he will attain the Absolute Soul. There is no doubt at all. That's about the seventh slokam. Then move on to the eighth slokam, what he is saying. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So the Absolute Soul, he is saying that everything is born, everything whichever is getting taking birth is because of him. Everything is exist, everything is surviving because of him itself. every creature exists because of him itself. So the people, the knowers of the wisdom, whoever comes to know these things, they will worship him. They will worship him with the equal, with the equal feeling, with the equality feeling within them. So so they will come to know, the knowers of the wisdom will come to know that the absolute soul is the main reason for entire world itself, its existence and the creatures which are taking birth. So he has created a system, that system is continuously running. So the whatever the task, whatever the action is taking place in this world, that's because of the absolute soul itself. So when all these things come to know to the knowers of the wisdom, they will follow the yogam to get unified with the absolute soul, to get unified with the absolute soul itself. So they will worship the absolute soul in the form of yogam, unification. Let us move on to the ninth slokam. मच्चित्ता मद्गतप्राणा बोधयन्तः परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च. This slokam is also talking about the absolute soul. Absolute soul is saying over here that, the God is saying over here that the devotees keep their chittam and their life, chittam and their life source on absolute soul, and they will discuss about him, each other will discuss about him. They will get satisfied and they will be in the joyful state. So the devotees who come to know about the absolute soul, they will identify that, they will clearly know that there is nothing in this world which give more and more satisfaction than the absolute soul matter. And they will come to know that only joy exists in the matters of the absolute soul. So they will keep their concentration, focus on the absolute soul matters always, and they will discuss with each other among them. They will get satisfaction, they will get joy, they will enjoy a lot. That way they will be very, very happy. So they will keep always their focus on absolute soul only. So they will be always in the joyful state. That's what he is saying in this slokam. So let us move on to the 10th slokam. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. The people, the devotees who kept their uh, chittam and their life source and their life on the absolute soul, for them absolute soul is giving a greater reward, which is called the buddhi yogam. So because the devotees will like so much the absolute soul, and they wanted to be very they wanted to be liked by absolute soul itself. So for them, God provides buddhi yogam, the unification of the intellect. We can say buddhi yogam. So he is going to provide that. Because of that, they are going to know much more about him, and finally they can attain absolute soul. So the what this buddhi yogam is going to do. So in order to attain the absolute soul, there are two ways of two dharmas. two dharmas which are called Brahma Yogam and Karma Yogam. During the Brahma Yogam, you have to suppress the mind. So when you do Karma Yogam, you have to suppress the ego. The mind will be bringing the matters of the external world and giving it to the intellect will be busy analyzing them. Then the jivatma, the mortal soul, cannot attain the yogam, cannot attain the unification. So there is a problem with the mind. But the mortal soul has much more interest on the absolute soul. He likes so much absolute soul. Then absolute soul is providing the buddhi yogam. With the buddhi yogam, buddhi what it is going to do, the intellect is going to warn the mind not to bring the external matters. When it warns and it stops the mind, then automatically he will enter into the yogam. He will continue the yogam. Similar way, when karma yogam process is happening, whenever the ego is trying to poke the mortal soul uh, and starts telling that you are the reason for this, that, and everything, then intellect will warn the ego and tell uh, not to deviate the mortal soul. That is called the buddhi yogam. So when Paramatma gives buddhi yogam to his devotees, that may be related to ego or may be related to the mind, or both of them. So whatever it may be, because of that buddhi yogam, buddhi is going to warn the mind and ego and keep mortal soul in the track. So that's what about the 10th slokam. Let's move on to the 11th slokam. Teshamevanukampartha mahamajnanajam tamaha nashayamyatma bhavastu gnanadipena bhasvata. So in order to uplift them, in order to uplift the devotees who got the buddhi yogam, so he will be the immortal soul inside them. He will light up the wisdom. He will light up the wisdom. Throw away all the ignorance from them. Throw away all the ignorance from them. The devotees who like so much absolute soul and who wants to merge with him, absolute soul is providing buddhi yogam to them. So they are continuing their yogam. So whenever they get the doubts about the wisdom, if they get any question about the wisdom, what absolute soul is doing in the body, in the head itself, so he is clearing off all the doubts whatever they have in their mind. So that way all the darkness of the ignorance he is throwing away by lighting up the wisdom light in their head. So that provides a lot, all the answers. Once all the answers they got, when there are no questions remain, then it is called the totalness, we can say. It's completeness of the wisdom. So he is completely filled with the wisdom. So when he has no doubt at all, he got 100% wisdom, completeness he got, then without any objection, the devotee can get the liberation. That's what the absolute soul is promising over here. See, absolute soul is providing such a great help to his devotees. Whoever turns towards him and whoever likes him, then he is providing buddhi yogam and he is providing all the answers to the questions in the head portion itself, and he is making his devotee learn wisdom 100%. Finally he is providing the liberation. This is what 11th slokam talks about, is talking about. So from 12th slokam onwards we will talk about them in the next week. Let us do Mangala Prarthana and end the session. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Mahaniya Prabodhatmane Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Sadhurupaya Mangalam. Prabodhatmam to everyone. Thanks.